Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Robert Perea, filling in for the vacationing Sam Shad. On the program today, I have Brenda Hunt and Kaylee Maples from the Carson Watershed Conservancy District on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. You have a great hotel here. Mike Pegerman's invested a ton of money into this place to make it just gorgeous. Tell people what they can expect when they come down and stay.
A real quality experience, Sam, and the rooms, you've stayed in them, they're good size, very well appointed, clean, and for about $65 Sunday through Thursday right now through the winter. After you're done with your meetings, you take a nice, beautiful scenic drive and come stay in a very nice, beautiful room. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Before the masks, before the distancing, before the world changed, UMC was ready. Our response to COVID-19 began before the crisis did, with our own team of infectious disease experts who've spent their careers planning for this moment. With a pandemic response plan, we'd practiced again and again, and by blazing new trails in large-scale testing, including every patient we admit. Always ready. UMC.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Robert Perea, filling in for Sam Shad, who's on vacation. And today on the program with me, I have Brenda Hunt and Kaylee Maples from the Carson Watershed Conservancy District. So thank you guys for taking time out of your day to be with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So let's start off with, describe a little bit, what is the Carson Watershed Conservancy District?
So CWSD is a bi-state agency. We're located in Carson City, our offices, but we basically deal with the Carson River watershed, and we promote cooperative action to help with the water resources and other resources within the Carson River watershed to conserve and protect them. So that's our main goal. We have a bi-state agreement with the Alpine County as well. Yeah.
So what is what area is the Carson River watershed?
So the Carson River watershed starts up in Alpine County in the West Fork and the East Fork, and extends down into Douglas County, and the forks come together at Genoa. So the main stem of the river then travels through Carson City, through Lyon County, and then out to Churchill County and the Carson Sink. So it's a fairly large, it's about 184 miles long, and the watershed's quite large. It's nearly 4,000 square miles.
So what do you guys actually do?
So I'm the watershed program manager.
Okay.
I have a team, and Kaylee Maples here is one of my team members. We work with with the Carson River Coalition, which is a group of stakeholders, a large group of stakeholders throughout the Carson River watershed. So that could include state, local governments, some of our nonprofits like the Nature Conservancy and Nevada Land Trust. We also work with federal agencies, a lot of the federal landowners, to promote, like I said, cooperative action and making sure that we're taking care of our water resources. We look at integrated watershed planning, so we fund through ad valorem taxes. We collect ad valorem taxes through the watershed members, which are the counties that are the members, and we basically utilize that funding to give back to the counties to do projects along the river. So they could be educational projects, outreach and education. Yep. They could be watershed stabilization, so bank stabilization, restoration work. It can also be water supply issues. So we work with our water purveyors throughout the counties. So it's a very kind of big picture organization. We are, and then we are not the implementers necessarily, where we help plan, fund, and coordinate, and the implementers are the actual counties and the local people.
Are these mostly like environmental kind of programs?
They are mostly environmental programs. But you know, you do look at the economy, the community, and the environment. So it's kind of looking at all of those things.
Yeah. One of the things that's kind of unique to me about the Carson River compared to the other rivers that we have that run out of the Sierra, like the Truckee River and the Walker Rivers, have reservoirs upstream. And so river flow can be fairly somewhat controlled during different times of the year. Carson River doesn't have that.
No.
So whatever runs off comes and then it runs out, right?
That's right. So we're totally reliant on our snowpack to bring us water, and so you know it's a feast or famine sort of situation. And the reservoir that we do have is 3/4 of the way down, and that's the Lahan Reservoir that helps feed the Fallon Farm area with irrigation water. But yes, that's the very big difference. So we look for having open floodplain lands and different types of protection of our floodplains, so that capacity, you can soak up the water, and so we try to promote those types of things in order to protect our water resource, because it is very, very, it's like I said, feast or famine at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Several years ago, I was watching as they were doing kind of a bank repair and did a lot of boulders and stuff along the river in the Dayton area. Is there a lot of that's typically ongoing?
Depending on whether we have a big, flood, or like I think 2017 we had, or 2016 and 2017 we had some flooding down there, and some of the banks kind of got torn apart because it was a long, we had high flows for a long time. But yes, so we do get those, we do help pay for those restoration projects. So it can be a mix of boulders, and it can also be bioengineering, so you get plants growing in there to hold, with deep roots, and to hold and stabilize the soil. So those things are really important. I think part of it is because the Carson River is on the Clean Water Act. It's called the 303D list, and it's a list of impaired waters. And the Carson River is on it. There's several rivers throughout Nevada that are on it. But there are a number of constituents that are concerning. Sediment being one in the river, and so that trying to stabilize those banks is really important, because it does help improve the water quality of the Carson River watershed. And one of the things that we're wanting to talk to you about today is some of the things that people can do to help protect that water quality, because we have the Carson River watershed. The main source of pollution is non-point. They call it non-point source pollution. It's basically, it doesn't come from a pipe or a factory. It comes from dispersed sources, and generally speaking, those are human sources. So that's what some of it is natural from the sediment from above, but other parts of it are from you and me.
All right, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Because of UMC, there's a wide open road ahead of me.
Because of UMC, she can grow up with her twin sister.
Because of UMC, I'm here to help you. UMC, the highest level of care in Nevada.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Robert Perea, filling in for the vacationing Sam Shad. And with me on the show today is Brenda Hunt and Kaylee Maples from the Carson Water Sub-Conservancy District. So you have this campaign going on. What is that about?
So the campaign that we have, it's basically a watershed literacy campaign. We're really wanting to help people learn more about the watershed and learn what the actions that they can take to help protect it. So we have a campaign, right now it's called the I Am Carson River Watershed Campaign. And that we've started a series of videos just to get people to learn a little bit more about the watershed. So we started with, we worked with our partners we developed a survey. We surveyed our watershed in 2015 using phones, both cell phones and landlines. And we got a statistically relevant sample size to look at, what are people's basic knowledge about the watershed? What do we, how do we, so that we could kind of learn, like, well, what do we target? How do we go forward with a campaign if we won't know what to do if we haven't talked to the people and learned from them what they know and what they don't know. And so one of the things we learned during that was we asked people, do you live in a watershed? And 62% of the people either didn't know they lived in a watershed or didn't think they lived in a watershed. So that was a pretty eye-opening statistic, to learn. And then when we went on with the survey, we actually explained to them then what a watershed was, and we asked a series of questions. And one of the questions was so do you think the watershed is healthy or not? People didn't really know if it was or not. And then, but how do you affect the watershed? And a number of people, like about 75% of the people, didn't think they affected the watershed at all. And that's kind of where the disconnect comes, because they really care about the watershed. We asked how much they think about the watershed and if they care about its health. And over 75% gave it an 8 or above out of a score from 0 to 10. And so we know they care. They don't think they affect it, but we know that non-point source pollution is caused by you and me. So they do affect it, and so then, so that's why we're doing the campaign. It's because we learned, what people's thoughts are, what the actions that they've been taking. The survey did go into that as well. So we've come up with what we think is a pretty amazing campaign, and this year we're doing what we're calling Watershed Moments. And we started out in January with our first PSA called Bag It, and it's basically to look at dog poop and how people picking up dog poop can basically help with the environment and help us with our water quality issues. Kaylee, do you want to tell them a little bit about what, why dog poop is such an issue?
Yeah. So these watershed moments are to help people see what they can do. There are things that we can't control in the watershed. We have mercury issues, and there are some other issues that we can't control, but especially dog poop. This is something that people can do every day to help improve the water quality. Dog poop has harmful nutrients and pathogens in it that it carries. And when we get a big rain event, if there's a lot of dog poop on the ground, all of those nutrients and pathogens are going to wash into our watershed, and that's going to cause things like toxic algae blooms. It can make the water non-recreationable.
Unswimmable, unfishable, that type of thing.
Unfishable. It really is toxic, and we actually get a lot of people who are like, oh, but it's great for composting. And it is not great for composting. It does not have the nutrients to support any life that we want to see around the watershed. So it's not going to promote native plant species. It's not going to promote healthy soil, which we really want to keep the soil healthy so that we don't get runoff into the river. So dog poop, there are several negatives to dog poop and very little positives. And it's very different from coyote waste, which a lot of people have been concerned about. Coyotes have a very different diet than dogs. They actually eat more vegetation than we think they do. And dogs have a very high meat diet and very processed meat also. So they're not contributing to the soil quality the way that coyote poop would, since coyotes are eating native plants. Obviously their waste is going to have native plants in them, and that's going to contribute back into the soil health. So dogs and coyotes are very different, and we also have a lot more dogs than coyotes.
Yeah, the video suggests we have about 16,000 dogs in the Carson River watershed, and that creates about 12,000 pounds of poop daily. So if you think about all those dogs and, you know, every day going out, and I think that there's a statistic about half the people pick up their dog poop, or a little over half, but that over 40% of the people don't. And so that's a lot of stuff out there.
It's a lot of dog waste just sitting out on the trails and in backyards.
Yeah, and I'm sure we've all experienced, you come to a trailhead and there's a bunch of dog waste there, or a bunch of bags that people have left, to pick up later, and then they don't. So, which might actually be worse. But,
all right, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Are you a homeowner who's interested in remodeling or building a home? At Design Outdoor, we can show you how adding natural or manufactured masonry stone can add beauty and value to your home. And we refer only the best contractors. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Robert Perea, filling in for the vacationing Sam Shad. With me on the show today is Brenda Hunt and Kaylee Maples. What are some of the other PSAs that you're going to be producing?
So hopefully next week we're going to be releasing one called Recycle Your Motor Oil. And it was a really, I mean, these are fun films. We try to make them fun and a little bit light, given the subject. And that one is going to have a couple of really amazing cars in it, so I think people might want to watch it. And it's basically talking to the folks who change their own oil, and sometimes they might not do the right thing with that oil. So looking at how do we get people to recycle their motor oil or take their car to a shop to get the motor oil changed because they recycle it at the shops. And just getting people to really think about it, because if it goes down a storm drain or goes down onto the ground, it can contaminate a lot of soil, as well as, I think we learned basically a gallon of oil will
contaminate.
Contaminate
Yeah.
1 million gallons of water. So you know, what is the typical 4 gallons of oil in a car, or is it 4 quarts?
4 quarts.
4 quarts in it. So basically, you know, the whole whatever you remove from your car can contaminate over 1 million gallons of water, which is pretty significant and pretty scary. So when we did the survey, we actually had about 2% of the population suggest that they actually did pour their oil onto the ground or into the storm drains. So that's one of the reasons why this campaign is important. You wouldn't think 2% is that many, but 2% of 159,000 people is still quite a lot of people. And so that's why we decided that this was another one to focus on, because it's such a significant contributor of pollution. So that one is coming out. And then we're going to be doing one about using a car wash, because there's lots of surfactants and oils and things on your car that can also cause problems. So if you wash your car in the street or on your driveway and it runs off down the storm drain, that goes untreated into our rivers, lakes, and streams. And so that's another one that we're asking people to use a car wash instead of, or at least be on ground that can soak in and filter the water. And then you want to tell them a little bit more about some of the other ones that we're going to do?
Yeah, so this is a 12-month-long PSA. So we're going to have one video for each month this year. Yeah. We have things like promoting pollinators, making your yard a sponge, pitching in your community, so doing volunteer cleanup days. We're trying to hit all of the topics of how people can contribute throughout the watershed. So each month there will be a new PSA, and we also have, along with the PSAs, giveaways that people can enter in through our Facebook and our Instagram, and also by taking our pledge. So this month we were giving out $300 collectively to pet stores within the watershed. So we have 3 different pet stores and $100 to each pet store if people shared their bag it moment. And there will be similar...
From each pet store.
Yeah, from each pet store. So there will be similar giveaways every month. So I think this next month we're doing oil changes, which can get very pricey. I have learned. Yeah. So we're trying to promote people showing their action in the watershed through these watershed moments. Mm-hmm. And everyone will have an opportunity with each month that comes along to do something different.
Yeah. So the main thing is people can get in touch with us by going to the splash page, which is www.iamcarsonriver.org. And then you can also find us at Carson River Watershed, Instagram and Facebook, as well as contacting our office in Carson City, the Carson Water Sub-Conservancy District office. So there's many ways to watch these films. They're on that splash page, but they're also on our YouTube page as well. The Carson River Watershed YouTube page. The films, there's a couple films that we've already done. One is called Water Connects Us All, and the other is called A Walk Through the Watershed, and those kind of are overview videos that happened in 2019 and 2021. And they're really, they're short but very informative videos about more about the watershed, about the actual full watershed and what and the community that lives in them. So I think those are the main things. Again, we're really excited about this campaign, and really want people to show us that they're acting in ways that will help the health of the Carson River watershed.
How are you doing to get the PSAs out to people, or to make people aware that they're here? And do you have ways that people will be coming across this, just kind of organically, or?
Some of it is organic. We've definitely been putting out press releases, so we put to the traditional media, and we also put out, we've done a social media blitz. We've been working with our Neon agency. They're our contractor in this. They're out of Reno. And we also, I think it's important to say that this is funded through Clean Water Act funding from the non-point source branch of the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection. So I wanted to make sure that we talk about them. They have been incredible partners in helping us get this out, these PSAs out. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys for being with us on the program today. Brenda Hunt and Kaylee Maples from the Carson Water Sub-Conservancy District. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hey, Dad? What are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow, this stuff is great. People are gonna love it.
Yes. Yes, they will.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Robert Perea in for Sam Shad. You can check out Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.